Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video, and this is going to be my overview of my Imperial Raider class Corvette, also known as the Corvus from Star Wars Battlefront 2 MOC. This MOC took me about 3 months from start to finish to complete, and is easily one of the most difficult things I've had to design. I would describe it as deceptively complex. From at first glance, you would say, oh, it's just, a triangular Star Destroyer looking thing with some TIE Interceptor wings on the sides. And I would have said that as well. However, once I got really deep into designing it, I realized there were a lot of complex shapes and things that I had to accomplish with this MOC that were certainly more difficult than I would have assumed to be starting up front. So it took me quite a while to get this done, but I am glad that it is finally completed. My inspiration for this MOC is very obvious. If you're not familiar with it, I'm currently recreating the Vardo scene from Star Wars Battlefront 2, so I figured, why not have a Corvus here on the landing platform? Before anyone asks, no, this is not minifig scale. In fact, it is nowhere near minifig scale. To put things into perspective, right there is where a hangar would be for quite a few TIE fighters. This is what my minifig scale TIE fighter looks next to the Corvus. So this thing would have been absolutely massive if I did it in minifig scale. I basically just tried to build it big enough to fit on this platform that I've designed for it. And it ended up being quite big. It's actually almost as big as the Imperial Star Destroyer UCS set. Not the Super Star Destroyer, but the original one. So I'd say it's just under 3 feet long. But let's look at some of the details in this build. I spent a lot of time looking at reference material, specifically the top of the ship, just to get a lot of the patterns down. At one point, it became a little too difficult for me to get good angles, so I had to do a little guesswork in here. But you can see I utilized a lot of tiles and wedge plates to accomplish the kind of patchwork surface that we've come to expect from these types of ships. And I do think that it came out pretty nice, especially with the dark gray elements in there. Here's a view of the top main panel on the other side of the ship. The next thing I'd really like to focus in on are the wings. Now these were quite difficult to design, mostly because I tried to maintain a relatively thin form factor while still keeping them fairly sturdy. Obviously, this is the only attachment point to the main part of the ship, and they had to hold themselves up. So that was really important for me to make sure that they were sturdy enough. At its thickest point, the wing is actually only 3 plates thick, and that's really just for a lot of the gray kind of lines that are on the sides of it. Everything else is just 2 plates thin, so I really had to put a lot of effort into making sure that this wing would be strong enough. I do quite like the technique that I used by having the grill tiles in the wing to kind of represent the line texture of the wings, and you can honestly see this on any of these types of wings, specifically on the TIE fighters. So while it was impossible to have the pattern go all the way throughout the wing, I had to throw in some tile for structural reasons at some parts of it. I was able to get most of it covered in those 1x2 grill tiles, and I do like the pattern that it created. This was actually the most complex wing to design because if you take a look from the side of it, you can see that it actually has a slight slant and it goes upwards. So this half of the wing is actually hinged to the back connecting part, and it was very difficult to figure out a design that would actually be able to keep this wing hinged up and locked in place without falling under gravity. I was able to accomplish that, and that was honestly one of my biggest accomplishments with this MOC. In an attempt to give you guys the best overall look at the bottom of this ship, I have elevated it using pick-a-brick cups, which is important to me because I spent so much time designing the bottom of this ship. You can see there's quite a lot of details, probably more details on the bottom of this ship than the top of it, and that really just attests to the very complex nature of the bottom of this ship. This is easily the part that took me the longest to figure out and design, and like I said, I'm really happy with the overall result. You can see that the bottom wing is quite similar to the wings on the sides of the ship. There are a few minute differences that really did surprise me when I was designing it because I was under the impression I could just literally copy and paste the side wings to the bottom, but no, it was a little bit different, which meant that I had a little bit more designing work to do. But all in all, it was worth it because, I didn't want to skimp out on any particular area of this ship. Around the back side, below the main engine, you can see that it has kind of a barrel type design, and this was so difficult to implement because it does get intersected by the general triangular shape of the ship, so that was very difficult to implement. Once I finally figured out how to do that, I really did feel like a lot of weight was lifted off my shoulders because that was one of the critical parts to the design of this ship. And here's a look at the other side of the bottom of the ship. Next, we can take a look at some of the greebling on the sides of the ship. Greebling is always a really interesting thing to work on because it's something that you typically don't really try to adhere to reference material for unless you have really good clear images. For the most part, there was nothing consistent I could find, so it was really just a lot of guesswork for me and coming up with what I thought was a pretty good and cool design and used for a lot of unique parts. You can see that along the middle of the ship there is actually a turret, and it's the same thing on the other side. I designed this to where it can be rotated, so in the video game you actually see it lock more into this position more times than not. If we go back towards the other side, you can see that there is what I presume are a bunch of escape pods, so just use some of the 3x3 dishes to accomplish that. And then, as I mentioned earlier, that's actually a door for a TIE fighter hangar, so I think it can fit, at least 4, 5, or 6 TIE fighters and the hangars on either side. So, like I said, minifig scale version of this ship would be quite huge. I am happy with the size I was able to achieve, however. Here's a look at some of the greebling on the other side. You can see that I utilized those trans blue 1x1 plates to kind of represent the lights that it shined through in the greebling. I thought it was important to recapture that, so that's what I did. And then, as I mentioned earlier, there's the turret on this side, and then going towards the back, it is identical to the other side with the hangar as well as the escape pods. Next, we can take a look at the back of the Corvus. My favorite part of this is definitely the giant engine in the middle. It took me quite some time to figure out what I thought would be a good design for it. There are actually a few just big Lego wheel gear pieces that I probably could have used for this, but they just weren't the exact size that I needed. So I did have to come up with a more complex solution, but I am glad with what I came up with. The most important part to capture were these little ridges right here. So it's hard for me to explain. It's really something that I'd have to break down and show you, but I was able to accomplish it, and most importantly, get that slight angle that they have going towards the middle of the engine. It was really important for me to capture that, and I'm glad I was able to. Then there's also these other smaller engines on the sides of it, and I actually do quite like the design that I came up with that as well. Altogether, I think they combine to make a very nice looking back of this ship. Next, we'll take a look at the bridge. I feel like the bridge of the Corvus is one of the most unique things about it, just because it's not one of the giant Star Destroyer bridges. It's relatively small compared to it, and you know that the main characters are basically standing right there looking out to the rest of the galaxy. So it's very important to me to make sure I left enough room and actually inside of it to be able to incorporate some of our main characters. Before we jump into the inside, however, I do want to show you a few of the details that I added to the outside of it. There's just a little bit of greebling right in here. You can also see that it does have that slight slant on both sides of the bridge, which was very important to capture. This ship doesn't have a full interior, but I did make it able to have a bridge, and this is it. You can see with the release of the new Inferno Squad Battle Pack, I have an official Iden Versio, and she is standing there talking with Haas and Del Mico. And you can see that I have the technician station, so he's working on one of his computers. And then I left some studs there for you to actually be able to position your characters standing right at the front, looking out on the bridge. So I thought that was really cool that I was able to incorporate that, and that's honestly one of my favorite parts of this ship. And that's going to finish up my overview of the Corvus. Please let me know what you think about this ship. I spent so much time working on it. Whenever I first saw it in that Battlefront 2 commercial, I knew that I wanted to build it in Lego. That was such a long time ago, but fast forwarding to now, I am still in awe that I was able to complete it. So let me know what you guys think about it as well. I am currently selling the LDD instructions to this model, so if you're interested in purchasing them, send me an email to my email in the description of this video. I'll also put a comment to make it maybe a little bit easier for you guys to find it. And that's going to finish up the video, guys. Like I always say, if you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by smashing the like button, support the channel by smashing the subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.